Countersole, those are empty words, since in the name of democracy and freedom our descendants are not in any better situation than they were with us. Let us stop this discussion that tomorrow I am going to HUAYNA CÁPAC to hear their priests, who never fail in their predictions. HUAYNA CÁPAC made a detour to the coast. Once in the sanctuary, the Inka entered its dark chambers where a shaman, behind a wooden idol, talked to him in a disguised voice. The priests, aware of the recent events that were taking place on the northern coast, and their augurs were not good. Worried and consternated, HUAYNA CÁPAC came out of the shrine. In the serenity of the oceans, the Inka contemplated his future in a pleading voice that was drowned with the sounds of the murmuring waves. After marching over bone-dry deserts, they climbed the high Andes, arriving in Tumabamba, where HUAYNA CÁPAC made his center of command to administer the Tawantinsuyo. Perhaps, and in retrospect, the centralism in Cuzco would have been a better way to govern the empire. Sapa Inka. We hear that the Pastos, in the extreme north, are the most rebellious of that region. Aki Topa, we should first go to the Cayambis and Caranks, who are also revolting, and they are closer to us. Great HUAYNA CÁPAC, we must first subdue the Pastos to prevent the Caranks and Cayambis from joining them, and have to fight 3 enemies far away from Tumabamba. My generals. That will take us to the confines of Colombia, the land of the dreadful Caribes, whom I am not contemplating on unifying. Let us hear what the Kalas have to say. Sapa Inka, we agree with your brother's plan. We want to be the first warriors to win this battle. You can send your 2 sons with us to let them get used to the victories accomplished by their subjects. Kala Topa, why are so confident of winning? You don't even know how these people fight, and you have no idea what type of territory they have. Nevertheless, go and be the first to confront the Pastos. Aki Topa will follow you closely with my 2 sons. If their city is taken, I will enter to claim victory. Sapa Inka, do not doubt our intentions. You can take our lives if we are unsuccessful. Enough of words that you will disappoint me, if it happens otherwise. The Pastos, aware that they would have to confront a great army, simulated defeat by leaving their fortress. Aki Topa. We have won, as we have promised we would. Kala Topa, perhaps the Pastos are using their escape as a ploy, and then return. You Incas are always suspicious, and never trust anyone. My Kala troops deserve a great Taki fiesta. Go ahead with your celebrations. We will stand vigil. HUAYNA CÁPAC is coming, and I want the citadel to be in order for his triumphal entrance. The Pastos, in the midst of darkness, came to reclaim their fortress that was guarded by few sober Incas, and they slaughtered most of the inebriated Kalas. The Inca warriors escaped to Tumabamba. Unintentionally, Ninan Quayosh and Atahualpa had witnessed their first defeat. HUAYNA CÁPAC insulted Atahualpa for not standing up for his younger brother to defend his honor. The Inca redirected his fugitive troops to the fortress of the Pastos, who were also celebrating their victory, and they were slaughtered. HUAYNA CÁPAC returned to Tumabamba with his humiliated sons, and an intact Inca army. The first phase of this northern campaign had ended, but it would be the beginning of more brutal wars to come. The Caranks and Cayambis, more resourceful than the Pastos, were getting ready to fight the Incas. These campaigns did not take place in rapid succession, it took them months if not years to prepare for their next encounter. Meanwhile, all warring factions tended to their fields and stored for hard times. While all this was happening in the Tawantinsuyo, the Spanish adventurers were making their way to the empire. Man of the future, we only knew through our childhood, adulthood, and old age how far we were from our birth and how close to our death. Since we are fast approaching our final days, as you have been prognosticating, I want to have some idea in your dates how close the empire was to its end, and what was happening in the old world. Inca, many events were taking place in the old continent, and too numerous to mention. However, printing had to be the greatest advance of the past millennium, 1398 to 1468. Why? Because it helped to record mankind's history to be remembered by all. Does that make any difference in our lives? Yes, because only those who register their past will know what is in store in their future. Then, tell me more about that man who is coming to end our way of life. Was he younger or older than me? If you were born in 1488, Francisco Pizarro, 1477 to 1541, would have been 11 years older than you. While you were going north to unite your people, he was coming south to conquer the Tawantinsuyo. I pray to Inti that they are the true Huayracochas, and not strangers who are coming to usurp the empire. They were not what you are thinking, but they did what you are saying. Kunter Soul, we had no other recourse, but to continue on the path of our own destruction. Inka, we are human beings with no other power than what is predestined, perhaps following the design of a greater power. However, we have the past as a standard bearer of our misdeeds to change what is to come. Sapa Inka, we are ready for the next phase of pacification. Generals, with the arrival of the Antis, commanded by the young nobles of Cuzco, we will go to fight the Cayambis. The Cayambis went to the great fortress of the Carancs, where Pinto, their leader, spoke, warriors. We are surrounded in this citadel. We have to fight to our death. The Incas do not tolerate those who contend them. Sapa Inka. This encounter is not going according to your plans. The enemy is coming out of the fort to combat against us. Chasquis, tell my generals that I will go with the young nobles Mihi and Encas Calas to confront them. Inka. The enemy is coming to attack us in full force. We cannot defend you, we must flee.